Another verse from the Holy Quran. I'm going down to the basics. I'm not saying what so-and-so says or another person says and quoting you mortal human beings. I'm quoting God and Scripture itself, to which Muslims refer themselves and by which Muslims measure and judge themselves. So another verse in the Quran says, قُولُوا أَمَنَّا بِاللَّهِ وَمَا أُنزِلَ إِلَيْنَا وَمَا أُنزِلَ إِلَى إِبْرَاهِيمَ وَإِسْمَاعِيلَ وَإِسْحَاقَ وَيَعْقُوبَ وَالْأَسْبَاطِ وَمَا أُوتِيَ مُوسَى وَعِيسَى وَمَا أُوتِيَ النَّبِيُّونَ مِنْ رَبِّهِمْ لَا نُفَرِّقُ بَيْنَ أَحَدٍ مِّنْهُمْ وَنَحْنُ لَهُ مُسْلِمُونَ. Now, also, the English rough meaning of this ayah goes as follows. Say, the command here is God's command to His committed subjects. Say, we are committed to God, and we are also committed to that which has been revealed to Abraham and to Ishmael and to Isaac and to the children of Israel and to what other prophets have been vouchsafed aforetime, and to that which has been revealed to Moses and to Jesus. Now, if you decide, you meaning people of Scripture, if you decide otherwise, you can't see things in this light. And this is really has been a historical issue, and the current political and military atmosphere has complicated the matter even more. But if you decide you can't see things this way, then we declare that we are subjects to God in this meaning, and with this historical depth, and with this current responsibility that we bear. So what is it in all of this that raises the ire of some sick minds and souls that go around maligning the Muslims? It's not understandable. There's another verse in the Quran that says, لَتَجِدَنَّ أَشَدَّ النَّاسِ عَدَاوَةً لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا الْيَهُودَ وَالَّذِينَ أَشْرَكُوا وَلَتَجِدَنَّ أَقْرَبَهُم مَّوَدَّةً لِلَّذِينَ قَالُوا إِنَّا نَصَارَى ذَلِكَ بِأَنَّ مِنْهُمْ قِسِّيسِينَ وَرُهْبَانًا وَأَنَّهُمْ لَا يَسْتَكْبِرُونَ. This is an ayah that in some people's minds may serve to polarize relationships between Muslims and people of Scripture. And this ayah means the following: you will most certainly find those who are most intense in their hostility towards the committed Muslims, those who are guilty of shirk. Shirk is a word that refers to the multi-authoritarian sources in life, meaning a person doesn't recognize God as his authority. He wants other authorities besides him. So those who accept other authorities besides God in their life will express intense hostility to those who only show and demonstrate that their only source of authority is God, and that's understandable. But then, in addition to that, those who also express intense hostility towards committed Muslims are the Zionists. And this is a fact of life. We can see it in today's world. The Zionists will do anything and then justify it on their way to virtually committing genocide against the people from whom they stole lands, territories, and properties. So why does anyone get upset if we're trying to quote a verse in the Quran that has its verification in reality? That doesn't mean Muslims hate Jews. It means that Zionists hate Muslims. And what are we supposed to do? And then the same verse goes on to say, and you will most certainly find those who are closer in affection to the committed Muslims, those who say that we are Christians. That is because among these Christians you will find priests and rabbis who do not display any hubris, any arrogance. So why is the Christian world getting upset with the Muslims? Is there anything in the sources of Islam that would make a Christian hostile towards the Muslims? Besides, in our Islamic history, let me just cover three areas in which at the dawn of the prophetic era, 1400 years ago in Arabia, the last prophet Muhammad, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him and his, when he first received revelation, the first person he came in contact with after his wife was Waraqa ibn Nawfal, who is known to have been influenced by Christian scripture. And then before that, when Muhammad, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him and his, on his way, he went to Damascus once or twice in his lifetime. He met with a Christian monk, but Muhammad was very young at the time. And then after revelation and the mission of the prophet, meaning after he was 40 years of age, there was a Christian delegation that came from Najran, which is currently an area straddling the borders of Saudi Arabia and Yemen, and they visited the Prophet in his masjid in Medina. Besides, Muslims and Christians share the concept of Jesus as the Messiah and Mary as the Virgin. It takes, with this commonality, and as I said, I can't exhaust all the material on this subject, but with this commonality between Muslims and Christians, there must be some very serious attempts and endeavors by those who don't like Muslims and don't like Christians to have both of them hate each other. Can we identify who these common enemies of both Muslims and Christians are? Now, when we say Muslims and Christians, there's an affinity between them. So that doesn't mean that within the Muslim context or within the Christian context, we don't have bad governments. We have plenty of bad governments. Tyrannical rulers. There's an abundance of them. But we can't say just because, let's say, there's a dictator in the United States, that all Christians are bad. Or just because there's a despot in Saudi Arabia, that all Muslims are bad. We have to weed out these spoilers and try as much as possible to identify these common enemies and not confuse the issues. Because much of the confusion comes where we identify imperialism as part of the Christian context.